The nickel position in the NFL has never been more valuable than it is today. It allows defenses to be a little bit more multiple in their approach. It allows defenses to run base. The beauty of the flexibility of that nickel is it's really dependent on the scheme. You'll see some nickels that are man coverage based. You'll allow your nickel to play a lot of man coverage, almost kind of defeat certain receivers. You'll have nickels that are hang defenders, they're blitzers, they're disruptors. And then you'll have nickels that are able to kind of dictate different coverages. This is a great example of how you can flip coverages and show a look and back out of it. I mean, Caleb Downs is down here, down towards the line of scrimmage, maybe 8 yards off, and he ends up dropping back into a deep zone, and the free safety ends up dropping down. This play shows how Down's abilities can kind of unlock or mitigate the weaknesses of other players because in this scenario, yes, Downs drops deep, but there's a scenario where he could just rob here. And there's a scenario where the free safety can stay deep. And then maybe you have this corner here play a deep coverage. Just goes to show the type of options you have when you have a special nickel. It just shows just how diverse and how funky you can get with your coverages and your combos. You'll have a nickel that can drop back into deep zones. You'll have a nickel that can rob. So it's a lot about what the defense wants the function of the nickel to be, but it's never been more important because of the way offenses are playing right now. So what we're seeing in the NFL right now from some of the best offenses is heavier personnel groupings, 2 and 3 tight ends, and you're seeing a lot of play action. You're seeing a focus on the run game. We've seen on the defensive side of the ball a lot of shell coverage, a lot of 2 deep safeties. And one of the ways that offenses are creating explosives is through the running game and through play action. So, how do defenses match this heavy personnels? How are you able to still be able to play coverage, but also still be able to stop the run? One of the ways that'll allow a defense to be more multiple is having a nickel like a Nick Emenwari or like a Derwin James that's big enough to run fit, sound enough to run fit, but can also play in coverage. And some nickels better than others because what coverage they're playing is up to how good the player is. So a player like Derwin James, a player like Nick Emenwari, can they play not only man, can they play zone? The key to that nickel position, though, is you have to be able to tackle because offenses have gotten so good at targeting players. They'll target this nickel in a run fit. They'll make them run fit on a toss play where they're pulling the lineman, or they'll throw a screen to their side and they'll have to be physical. So, a key to these nickels is also the physicality element and also being able to tackle. One of my biggest takeaways, too, looking at this film is the new base in the NFL has been nickel. I mean, you rarely see 3 linebackers playing in this base. I want to say nickel is ran around 50% of the time now. So obviously with these heavier personnels, you have lighter boxes. What I think is interesting is we've gotten into this hybrid role now where if you have a capable nickel like a Derwin James and Nick Emenwari that can play in that slot in nickel, you're essentially still running 3 linebackers because they're still playing 3, 4, 5 yards off. And the key to all of this is just being able to be multiple with your players, to be able to run different coverages, to be able to run fit differently, to be able to run different fronts. The nickel position in today is just so important, and defenses can't really afford to just have a guy. I mean, it depends a lot on what the scheme is, but at the same time, it would only allow you to be more multiple when you have a nickel that can cover, that can run fit, that can blitz, that can be that asset. Being able to play in the slot and being able to adjust coverage at the snap of the ball and maybe make a deep defender now a robber or make someone in the slot cover a hook to zone or just drop back, it just allows to muddy up the picture for offenses. So as we get deeper into this new era of football and more running and more physicality and less spread and bigger bodies, heavier personnel, what's going to be the answer? Because we have these defenses that have been hybrid, they've been faster, you get more speed on the field. Will they be able to hold up against these heavier personnel groupings? Will they be able to not only cover tight ends and pass coverage, will they be able to stack, shed blocks, and be able to run fit? Some of the best nickels I think there are in the game right now: Cooper DeJean, Nick Emenwari, Derwin James, Kyle Hamilton. All of these guys are true assets of their team, and they've almost become like a weak side backer. There's someone that you want to free up and use as an attack player or use as an eraser. When you can free up these players, these weak side defenders, these nickels, it allows for more coverage diversity. It allows you to flip your coverages. It allows just another layer to muddy up the picture for the offenses and for the quarterbacks trying to get through their progressions. So whether you have a big nickel hybrid safety type like a Derwin James, or whether you have a coverage base Cooper DeJean, who I also believe can go back and play deep safety, or you're seeing the Caleb Downs, the Cal Hamiltons, either way, you need a guy at that nickel position that'll allow you to manipulate offenses, whether you're trying to manipulate protection rules. Ultimately, in some ways, football is positionless. It's really about space, it's really about matchups. How can you mitigate what players you have on the field and their weaknesses? And I think the best way to begin doing this is to create a more diverse defense. Just have special nickel players that can make up for the weaknesses of your defense, for the weaknesses, whether it's coverage, whether it's run fit. These players allow your defense to be more multiple.